All right, so it's recording. I'll send you this afterwards.
All right, so hello and welcome to our peer feedback. So let me share my screen. Well, of course I can't share my screen. All right, so I'll just run through the
Yeah.
through the document then. Okay, so overall, I just realized. Oh, hold on, let me. So this is actually, I think, the second time I am going to give feedback to a high school class. So are you teaching IB DP physics? Is that DP
Yeah.
physics?
Yeah. Then
Okay, that's why I was
this one
like,
was the HL
what's
class.
a
So
diode?
I know like for it's like at the end of higher level physics in IB, so I know for no one who watches this video is going to understand the content except for people who are in the class or teach
Yeah.
it.
And then I also have another question. Like, how many students was in your class?
There are 7 in this class, but one of them
Seven.
is like pretty silent the whole time because he has like gallstone issues and he just like kind
Ah,
of lies there in pain the entire.
wow, seven. Oh, I envy your class size number.
Yeah,
Because
well,
as
we're
you,
combined with the SL students, and in that case, then there's 17 students in the class. So
uh,
when we have just HL, they break off by themselves.
I wish I had seven. I could do so much with them. So that's why it explains, like, I feel like I actually, if I was an IBDP student, physics, I would definitely have a good time, especially with the student who actually has that equipment at home.
That was actually such a bizarre surprise. Like, how do you have this? Okay, that's actually great. Like, it worked out really well. I'm glad he got a chance to use it. But I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was so surprised. So it might be like maybe a family member is in
I asked him
actual.
about it. His dad had an idea for like an online education company, and they would like send out these like circuit kits to students, but like the company flopped, so now they just have all of this um,
Oh, okay.
educational circuit equipment at their home.
Wow. Wow. All
Yeah.
right. So I have, like, I noted a bunch of timestamps as well. Like, you went through the objectives. Um I also like you using videos, and then I also like the chance for these students to share their screen, because when I was doing my online my online class, I I couldn't in our software, I couldn't um really. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the video is frozen. Still recording.
I froze.
Oh, you can't hear me then.
All right. Anyway, I'll just continue. All right. So where was I? Yeah. So for them to be able to share their screen and demonstrate first the virtual labs that you have. So definitely you have all the resources that you needed to have that hands on activity with them, and then at some point I also noticed that you were actually doing a reading strategy that I also use in class. However, we have, I don't know if you noticed during my video, but I also did we have that reading strategy wherein we um, box the numbers, box the proper nouns, box the names, circle the important numbers, and underline the keywords. So you were also doing that with your students, which was also great. So I also liked. Overall, I really enjoyed. Let me go through the rubrics right now. I think this is also
Wait, Isabel, can you hear
one
me?
one of the topics that I am not familiar with, the diodes. So that's why, for me, in my perspective, I think you did an outstanding job in demonstrating thorough understanding within the subject area. And I mean, based from your students' engagement and their work, it seems to be that they understood what they were doing. And then the next one would be candidate utilizes her understanding of the content to link students' prior knowledge while recognizing and correcting student misconceptions. I also saw that in your video. It was very evident. Um, Next would be
Can you hear me?
okay. No, I cannot hear you.
Okay.
Your video froze. WeChat. Oh, there. I can see you now. You're moving now.
Oh, okay. So it's back.
Yeah, it's back.
All right, then let's keep going. But yeah, I could
All
hear
right.
everything you said. So that's good.
All right. Next. Where are we? Within and beyond the classroom, I think yes, I would also rate you outstanding here because you had one of the kids' equipments there. However, I think one of my the things that I noted here was, although I understand that high school students, they don't really like to switch on their cameras because it's also sometimes I have that problem as well with the little ones. But then I see that your students, they're still engaged. So my question would be, with how do you check for understanding for the other students who do not really switch on their cameras and doesn't really participate? I think that's one of the
Yeah.
things. I mean, even I, as a teacher during an online class, that's one of my problems as well.
Yeah, I make sure to call on all of them. I couldn't put this in the video, but every one of them did a screen share unless they were using an alternative like real life or another simulation. But I made each of them do a screen share and build the circuit individually. But yeah, with the videos, we decided as a class not to do it when I do the recordings for Moreland. So this has just been like a thing. And we also use the chat box a lot. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then next, I think you also did an outstanding job in the application of content. Well, one thing. I think you're for this task because it's so. For me, my head is in primary, so that's why for me, I think you really did a good job. You use different forms of technology too, I guess. One way I think I also enjoyed. That's one thing that I also enjoyed doing online class is that we get to search for these um, different multiple resources that other people or other parents can't say no to because we need it so that um,
Oh, you're frozen now.
yeah.
So actually,
Okay.
it's going okay right now. Maybe you can finish up real quick, and maybe it'll
Okay,
just work.
Okay, you were still recording?
Yep, still recording. Never stopped. She's gonna
Okay.
she's gonna
That's
just
the
have to
hassle.
get
We
through
just have to
all of
cut
our
out those parts.
problems. Yeah.
All right. So where was I again? Um. Yeah. So based from my understanding as well, these were these two separate classes, and then you put them
They were
together.
2 double periods, yeah. It's because
Oh, okay. Yeah.
doing some
Okay.
too much to do in like one single day.
Yeah. So that I was worried about that when I saw that you wrote there 160 minutes, and then I was like, whoa,
Yeah, sorry you had
that's a
to read
lot.
the really long lesson plan.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. So I'm done with that. Next is does the candidate integrate multiple perspectives? Uh, Different cultures and backgrounds of diverse population. I think this is one. Um, I think this is one of the, for me, in my perspective, since I'm not an IBDP physics teacher. Uh, how I didn't really see this part because it was very technical.
Yeah. Well, in my reflection, I also wrote something like this. Like, I just tried to like kind of force something like this in at the end because it was like not. This does not really tie into every topic so well. This part of the rubric. Like, I really had to force it, and it was like a follow up assignment. Like the very last, like maybe 20 seconds of my video had this, and it was to like think about like different places in the world. If like this could be like for some like maybe like poor places, this is cheaper than Transformers. Like so maybe some people in the world
Yeah,
would want to use this, and also it's like smaller to get them to think about that. But honestly, it was really forced. It does not like just connect that well to this topic. Like this is like a pretty technical topic, and to relate it to different like cultures and stuff like that, just really have to force
yeah,
it.
yeah. I save. Sometimes when I read through the rubrics, I find it really hard to, try and meet all. But then I guess it is. I still look forward to when I see that actual class. Being able to do all the standards in one class. So yeah. So overall, I think you did a pretty good job because that was a very difficult topic for me and
Yeah.
for the kids, and I like that your students are really engaged and did the extra mile of actually building it in person, and
Yeah.
then yeah, just being actively engaged in that class. Oh my gosh, is is hard, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Good feedback. Okay. And now for yours. So the top things, like the little parts of your class. Um, like I have like in the beginning, like my immediate impression is like I think your classroom atmosphere is like really warm and positive. I think the students feel really comfortable around you. So that is a good thing.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, and they're super willing to participate. I also really liked that when you're doing the warm up activities, you could get them to answer. They go to the board, so that was great. I had one little note for like an improvement, like when you're checking if they understand. Um, you do a lot of like, do you understand this now, do you understand this now, and I think that's natural, like when you're wanting to like move on to the next thing. But I just made a note like that's likely going to get a lot of yes answers, but maybe they don't really mean it, so you should have like other ways of checking if they really actually understand it. um
Yeah, that's actually also part of my reflection because I really felt when I was doing that, I just decided to use that class, just to have record. Although the whole week we were actually doing a lot of activities pertaining to perimeter and area. It's just that I was able to record this whole class, and it was a 40-minute class. So I
yeah.
really felt that I rushed things through too. So
Oh, I think didn't seem rushed. I think it was good. um And then I also thought like you kind of do like that whole brain thinking thing like a little bit. Like you call and they respond, and I think that's working really well. Like you've obviously like got them trained to do that, and the clapping was working well. That was great. And that was my note for when you introduced like the hands-on activity pair work thing. And I thought maybe an improvement here, like the online students, they just had like a ruler, and like I'm not really sure like if there was a way of like checking that they were keeping up, but maybe you could have put them into like a room so that they could like I don't know, like show each other what they're
together,
measuring or something like that. Um,
yeah, it was actually one of the problems that I had. So it was part of the I cut that out actually. I tried to put them into breakout rooms, but my problem was because the classroom was in a different mode. That's why I couldn't put them into breakout rooms. So
uh,
I had that technical difficulty involved.
yeah. But anyway, I think like the activity still worked well. And then I made a time marker at 11:49. Like you say that you're going to guide the learners, but like your audio like cuts out and there's we can't hear anything. And the only thing you can see up in the top left corner is like a little tiny thing, and it's really hard to tell what they're doing. But I assume you're helping them then. But just like I don't know. I wasn't sure. But it's only like for a minute of time that we can't hear anything, so I don't think you need to worry about it in your video. Um, okay, so then for your criteria, um,
It was actually so what I did there was because it was really a long video wherein I was walking around with my camera. It was just really, it was a mess. So
yeah,
that's why I just cut it out and then
okay.
and then just wrote it.
That I mean, it's just a few seconds anyway, but I can tell like you're going around and like checking in on them, so I think that's good. Okay. Now criteria. So the first criteria, I think that like you did have a good use of technology. I don't know what a geoboard is, but I think that's one kind of technology. And I think also like people don't think of rulers as technology when we think of like 21st century skills, but it is a technology, and like it's a lab skill that they'll need like later on. So I think it was good to give them practice for that. So I think um, good, like outstanding, because you had a variety of tools there. In the second one, I'm not sure if you needed to redesign the lesson, and this is something I think we've talked about in other discussions in the cohort. Like, does the candidate need to redesign the lesson if nothing needs to be redesigned? So I give you like outstanding for that anyway, because I think you did correct misconceptions. Um, and you made some annotations about that, so I think that was great. And maybe you redesigned it, maybe you didn't. I'm not sure, but I think if it didn't need to be redesigned, it doesn't. So good job.
You know what I noticed here in China, they only use. I don't know if it's just a Philippine education thing, or it was an Americanized way of us actually using inches with a cm in our rulers. And then here in China, it's all cm. So that's why when I was like, "Oh, you just use an inch. This is how you estimate an inch," and they were like, "What's an inch?"
Yeah.
And
Well,
then I tried looking
actually,
for inches. I couldn't.
in my suggestions for like your grows or extensions, I actually think that's a way you could make this like a little bit multicultural. Like what kinds of measurements are used in different places in the world. Like Americans use this, and then there's lots of weird things like that are historical units of measurement in England and stuff. So it could have been a way to like link it to different cultures and diverse populations, but also, probably without a little bit outside of like, the content you have to teach. So I understand why you don't include it. Um,
But
okay.
there was, I had a student, I don't know if you noticed, she was answering the last part of the um, question in the class. Because she's into history and stuff, so she was the one explaining. But this was in a different class time. She was explaining how, you know, how the ancient times they used the arm length to.
Yeah, and that's where like the foot comes from. And the inch was like I think this part of a king's thumb.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So I think kids would find that like interesting. But uh yeah. I think the neighborhood committee's outside the door. But anyway, shh, Louis, it's okay. All right, so next one is instructional resources. You did have a lot of instructional tools. You had a smartboard and rulers, the virtual class, you had geoboards, whatever those are. So I think that is good. You have a variety of instructional tools, and like the students literally went beyond the classroom to go gather relevant information into their studies and choosing like what things to measure. So also outstanding there. Um, Next element. Lessons and projects to address real world problems. I think that the hands on perimeter activity was a good application of the math to the real world. I also liked when they were sharing their results, when you noticed like one student measured something with equal sides and you asked the class to identify that as a square. Um, and also I noticed in your instructions you told them to like round to the nearest centimeter, and I think rounding is also like a good like real life skill. So I also give you outstanding for this. And the next one is multiple perspectives and interdisciplinary themes. And yeah, this is I think like what I have problems with too, like embracing and celebrating cultures and backgrounds of diverse populations around the world. It's hard to link it into this concept. So I think maybe just like proficient there because I think interdisciplinary, like these measurement things. As a physics teacher, I appreciate that as like also a physics skill and math skill. But as far as how do we do diverse populations around the world, I don't know. So I think that one is the only one I give you proficient on, and the others are outstanding. And now the last section is glows and grows and next steps. So glows, I think this was super well done for hybrid learning. You paid attention to the online students and the in-person students with good balance. I think I saw in your lesson plan you had like a co-teacher, so maybe you could also oh, can you hear me? No. Give it a minute.
Thanks.
I don't know if you can
All
ever
right, what
start
can
to
be
hear me then.
improved? Proper way to measure, yes. Multicultural, what types of life could online students work in? Oh yeah, you mentioned that earlier. How to measure? Yeah, how to measure accurately. I think the next would be accuracy, which is also a science scale there that I can also tackle next time. Have each group measure non-rectangular things, bigger and smaller than Y. Great. Thank you for all these. Yes, I had a student who
I can hear
was
you.
asking about measuring the perimeter of a circle. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I have a student who was asking measuring the perimeter of a circle, and then I also have this class clown in my class who this is very funny, who started measuring the perimeter of her friend. So I found that funny, and she was demonstrating it to me how she wants to measure the perimeter of her friend so that she can draw or make a mural out of it. She likes building stuff. Yeah, so that's about it.
Yes, and you probably still cannot hear me.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you get to. I don't know if you need help cutting the video. Oh, there you're moving back now.
Oh, I am. Okay, so I'll send you the video when I upload it. And
Yeah, okay. No problem.
yeah. All right. So have a good night and see you next week.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.